Hello. It's good evening for me. It's absolutely impossible to record during the day for due to two factors: me being at work all day, and also in the rare times that I might have a bit to make a video, it's too hard. As you can see, I'm not using this because I want to show off my nice hairy chest. I'm wearing it because it's absolutely scorched. And I've even considered to buy a portable AC or something like that because the heat this year is unbearable. I don't know if it is because I'm a bit sicker. I've been having a lot of issues with my vision, my lungs. Well, but the issues that I already had, but this heat enhances it. But it's not something just to clear this, okay? It does not stop me from working, does not stop me from trying to make a more or less normal life, but it does impede me of doing things that I like. Like, for example, with this heat, I cannot go out into the woods, I cannot stroll in the woods, a lot of stuff that I cannot do because of the heat and especially because of the sunlight. Okay. Now, if you hear some voices in the background, well, I have to have a window open. Okay, it's now the late evening, and I'm just opening everything up so that the house refreshes a bit. So, as you can see, you all hear dogs, you all hear children, and it's absolutely normal. Okay? Now, today I want to talk with you because I think this is a day that will be in history books, both in the United States of America and in the rest of the world. Because Mr. Trump has done what he could and he has passed his big wonderful bill. Okay? I think there was some changes to it, but what is really important is what is inside that bill. And I don't think Americans really know. A couple of Americans should know and must know, especially if they are Democrats. They have a notion of what is happening here, but they don't really know what is happening. Uh, it's a major defunding of the sparse social network the US had. It will kill people. And I don't know why I'm really talking about it or why I really even care. Because this will kill Americans. And I'm not fear mongering, okay? No, I'm not that. Look, I'm not that type of a person. But I know this. If you take away money that's destined to help those in need, be it because they are poor, older, or or in a disenfranchised area, oh, people will die. And what I also find ironic is that people will die in those areas that still believe Mr. Trump is a good president and that he's doing everything right. Poor white neighborhoods. Of course, poor black neighborhoods will have issues. Now, everyone will have issues. But that heartland, like they call it, of the United States, which is basically that old town America that has already been hit by the changing world. It's been hit with the big companies taking away their jobs to other places where it's much less expensive to produce the products that they will manufacturing in those old town America. If you already were hit by that, and now you're going to be hit double because you'll have no services, you'll have no healthcare, And I know what you are going to tell me. A lot of Americans say that we can deal with it. I know you can. But can grandma that is in the local, local home, when she cannot afford it or the service cannot function because it's not financial, and you have to take grandma in and you have to find someone to change her diapers to take care of her, can you still afford it? Can you still afford to take your kid cross country to a hospital that will perform a life and death operation on your kid? If you're a veteran, can you afford to pay for your meds? Can you afford to have a decent life, a decent pay, a decent job, a decent person? Will you criticize other people that resort to crime to obtain what they need? Because let me tell you something. Crime happens in fundamentally, and this I can speak about because I studied it. I work with it. Crime happens because of two essential reasons. Because you want something or because you need something. This is a fundamental, you know, there are people that will still will kill because they want to, because they have pleasure in it, because they consider it to be an appropriate way of living, whatever. But the one you should worry about, it's not that one. Because that one, you punish him, the person, you jail him, you do whatever, and the problem is solved, so, so to speak. Okay? A bit of rehabilitation is also good because it helps. Even that is being cut, by the way. But the most danger comes when there is a need behind that that crime. And a person needs fuel for the car, and a person needs money to buy food for their children, and a person needs food to sustain himself or herself. Because a person in need has nothing to do. When you now with this big beautiful bill, when you have an entire army of people that are in need, you have a serious problem. And not all the brown shirts in ICE will solve that problem. That is another thing. He's turning that border patrol into a private army. That is never good. Never good. But now, consider this. You have these internal factors. Defunding FEMA, defunding social care, Medicare, all of it. Removing money from that. But at the same time, increasing the debt of the state. Do you understand? He's cutting and he's increasing the debt, the ceiling of the debt. So it will be your children that will pay for it, and maybe you if you are an elder. But right now, to all of you Americans in your 30s, 40s, 50s, it's the same. You can still work, you can still make money, you can still, in one way or another, not having a product, not being able to have a decent life or whatever, but you will survive. But your children, they will be born into it. They won't know anything more than it. And with the defunding of the education system too, that will also decrease. Because let me tell you, religious people are very good at, for example, creating social networks between people, creating a sense of community, but they are lousy teachers. They are lousy architects. They are lousy engineers. They are lousy electricians. They are lousy plumbers. And they have a tendency to confuse uh, religious feelings with absolute truths. So you have a lot more of that. Excuse me for just 1 minute. Sip of water. So you're going to have that. And then let's talk about tourism. It's dead on the water. People are not coming to your country. I mean, they have not stopped completely coming to your country. But all I have to do here is to take a look at one of the traveling agencies that is selling right here in my hometown. I think there's two or three. And I know people, and I talk with people, and they tell me this: the tourist flights to the US are dropping. They are not even selling them unless the client specifically asks for it because number one, it's more expensive, and number two, it's more unsafe. Why is it more expensive and why is it more unsafe? Because hmm, you pay more for your insurance. You you won't get, for example, it's not the same traveling now to the US in terms of security in the risk travel insurance takes and before. Before it was easy. Now I would say it's about the same as traveling to São Paulo in Brazil. And even São Paulo in Brazil is getting less dangerous. It's still dangerous, of course. Brazil has some issues with urban criminality, but even so, it's more tamed than in the US. US, anything can happen. And the worst thing is that anything can happen, and the authorities may be the ones doing it to you. Check that I think he was a Norwegian tourist that had a meme of with events on his phone, and he got blocked and expelled. I mean, how fascist can you be? How Soviet can you be? You are offending their leader, so you cannot enter here. And I think he was lucky. He was lucky they would not invent a court case and send him to El Salvador. Do you think I want to look here? Here, if an authority wants to see my media, my phone, my contacts, my monitor, my phone calls, all of that, they can do it. And I think it's correct because they have to monitor everyone, even those that are innocent. But they can only do it with the authorization of a judge. They can only use it for that specific reason. Suppose, for example, that they know that I have a friend and that friend is being naughty and they want to know where that my friend is. And they know I will probably not say anything about it, or maybe they don't even want me to say anything about it. They don't want me to understand what is happening. And I'm on the phone with my friend, and my friend says, "Oh, I'm here in I don't know Barcelona. I'm doing this. I'm doing that." Okay, they can use that information of the phone call made to me without me even being mentioned as a source, except in the case file that is only accessible to parties in the case file and to the authorities. And even so, they are also bound by professional secrecy. And believe me, if they break that secrecy, the conditions are good conditions. Sorry, the consequences are very harsh indeed. Okay, but let's continue. You have all of this. You have the big, wonderful bill defunding all this, all the sparse social network you have, and I know you are going to tell me, oh, the communities will help themselves. Yes, of course they will. Of course they will. But they won't reach everyone. They won't reach everywhere. And then other communities that don't have that sense of community will start to go where the stability and the money is, the food is, the jobs are. They will destabilize the other communities. And that is the beginning of a civil war if you don't know. Yeah? Now, then you have this tourist problem. Tourists are not coming. They will continue to come to those classic scenic places. But as things degrade themselves, as things become less appealing, they will go elsewhere. Look, I will give you an example. I live in South Portugal, okay? And with my ID card and perhaps a healthcare card, a European healthcare card, I can just hop in my car and drive around my country that has exceptional things to see. A lot of a lot of monuments, a lot of art, a lot of cultural events, a lot of people. People are also important in a country. Okay, you will find people like me that have, for example, mixed backgrounds of German and French. You will find, like for example, this afternoon I talked with a friend that is half, I think you would say, black African. He comes from some islands in Cape Verde, which is an island where the population is mixed Portuguese and African. Okay, lovely people. And I was talking with that friend. Okay, next to us was another friend. Okay, look, and I can get my ID card. Just suppose I have, for example, I have a week of vacation and I want to go do some travel. Not that I would do with this bloody heat. Okay, but I could get a plane ticket under 50 euros almost anywhere into Europe, with the exception of the UK. But even so, to the UK, Portugal and the UK have specific rules of reciprocity, of relationships in travel and all of that. So I can say it would be relatively easy. I cannot say it would be hard because it would not be hard. Okay, I know we sometimes jest about these things, but things can you can do things in a different way. And but I could get, for example, I could be right now here. I could take an overnight flight, for example. I don't know, to Poland. I would like to visit Poland. Okay, it has a lot of historical sites I would like to visit, and I'm not talking about that World War shit. I'm talking about the palaces, the cities, museums, the cities themselves. Okay, just like the Czech Republic and Slovakia. Okay, wonderful places with a lot of things, beautiful things to see. Okay, but I could get an overnight flight. I could get my car, like I said, no, hop in. The rules in terms of transit and traffic rules, in transit, all of that circulation in the roads and all of that. the signs, all of it. It's pretty much the same all over Europe. So if I know how to drive here in Portugal, I will probably be able to drive in Spain, and I have driven in Spain, in France, in Germany. Okay, I would not do what some American tourists do, that they go to travel into Germany and they think the autobahn has no limits. Watch the signs, please. They are very clear. Okay, continue. So, I have all this plethora of places to go. I have North Africa. I have Morocco. People well in Morocco, also nice. Is it a bit more unsafe than in Europe? It depends where you go. It depends how you act. Because if you go into a country and you act like some dumb idiot, okay, if you try to impose your culture to others, and others are minding their own business, living their own lives, of course you'll get backlash, my friends. Look, as an example, whenever I go somewhere different, I try to at least be able to say in the native language, at least to say these simple words: good morning, good night, thank you very much, and hello, for example. So simple, okay? Imagine you come here to Portugal, okay? All you and you memorize these words, for example. Good morning, bom dia, okay? Obrigado, that is thank you. Hello, hola. It's so simple to it's so simple to be polite and nice to people. Okay, and I know I used to think it was a stereotype until I actually knew them, because the Americans I had I have encountered when I was a kid, they were educated people. Okay, they were people that were here for a long time. There were people here that I'm not look. They were not posh people. No, no, they were just people that were working as engineers and all those things that had been here in Europe for a long time. So them and their families, they were very mild people, very polite people. They spoke English and Portuguese, so no issues. But when I got to meet the American tourists, man, annoying, annoying. You don't know anything. You think the world is revolving around you. You speak too loud. And look, and remember that when I'm saying these things, I'm not generalizing. Okay, okay. It's just a generalization of behaviors. Because of course you will find lovely people. You know, you will find people that are very calm, that don't want any rush, that are just walking around taking pictures. Tasting the food, tasting the the drink, the drinks, the wine, the beer, whatever. Strolling along in the old towns. Okay, people that don't bother anyone at all. And even some people that come here to work and that just want to go to their place of work and then sit down in a cafe and enjoy their time and then go back home and sit around and read a book, whatever. No, absolutely lovely people. But in general, this I have to say, I find them annoying. Look, imagine this. I'm strolling this happened, for example, in Never. It's an old town in the upper Alentejo, the two southern provinces of Portugal. It's a lovely town. It's a very historical town that has an ancient Roman forum in the middle, and that place really means a lot to me. Okay, I used to go there because my father's family was all from that region. Let's say it that way. And I used to walk around, watch For, visit the museums, visit the churches. There are plenty. The military stuff. There's military places there. How do you call it? Look, it's not like, for example, Fort Bragg or whatever. No, it's military installations with military stuff, military museums, and all of that, and religious museums too. Also, Roman and Celtic ruins. Okay, a lot of stuff to watch. And we, I was passing by with, I won't say who, but family members. We were passing by the old forum that we call, because it was the name that they gave it to it, although that was no temple, the Temple of Diana. Okay, Diana is in the goddess of the home. But we were passing by and I took a picture. Of course, I like it, I love it, and I drew it off from memory because I love that building. And then there were more tourists around. There were some tourists. I think they were Chinese. They were Asian. I think they were Chinese. Okay, there were a couple of more. I think German and Dutch. I think, and all of them were speaking, or making that usual noise of people speaking. They were taking pictures. They were walking around, or seeing, and then a group. I don't know. Couldn't be more than half a dozen Americans arrived. Can you believe that their screams echoed above everyone? Look, and let me tell you this, I'm I'm only not that loud, and most Portuguese are not that loud, but we have loud people that look like Italians on Valium, sorry, on ecstasy. Okay, we have that type of people too. And you know what the sensation I had? I had the sensation that there was some kind of barbarian invasion occurring. Savages. They were unable to shut up enough for the guide to explain to them where they were. And blah, blah, blah. You know what we did? We left. And not just us. The Asian tourists were the first to get out. The other tourists, I think they were Dutch or German. They look at them with disgust, just turned their backs, talked a little, and also left. And this is the way most of you Americans are being remembered here in Europe. You're not being remembered by the kind people. No, you're not to be an important person here for Portugal. They're not being remembered as President Carter was. Nice man, and he did a lot for Portugal. Yes, he did. Go look into our history books. I invite you to discover what he did here after the revolution. I said it before. I invite you to please go see what he did, how he helped Portugal. Now, they won't remember you for that kind of person. I know a couple of them. In my area, there are not much. There are not many Americans, but in some areas I go to because of my friends or whatever, there are. Uh, you are not going to be remembered by those people. You are going to be remembered by this loudmouth screaming about his big, wonderful bill, by those annoying tourists, and by a couple of other characters that we really don't understand or want here. I used to think that English in our reinforces. I'm not saying British, I'm saying English. Now, I used to say English drunk hooligans were the worst kind of people to put up with, and the only type of people that I really supported the police when they give him a bashing and haul him down to jail. I used to think those were the most annoying. Okay, but to see an American put ketchup on perfectly seasoned sardines, even the hooligans. Look, this is the state of the world we have. Okay, we have him claiming that he hit the nuclear facilities that he did not hit in Iran. Okay, even AI generated videos are circling around the internet. I know. If you go to France 24, the news channel, they did a piece about it. I think Reuters also did one. I don't know if your news talked about it. So he has to say that the strikes were a success, or else you would have to send in the troops. You would have to continue the bombings. And I don't think he wants that. He just wants to present himself, since he cannot have the Nobel Prize, he wants to present himself as a great president. Okay? We have Israel with Netanyahu uh, trying to become more and more autocratic. People continue to die in Gaza. I think 60 this week, yesterday or something, 60, 50, something like that. And they don't look, and they don't care. And you want to know what is going to happen until there is an actual power, let's say in Europe. I'll give you an example, but Europe, China, some countries in South America, Canada. Okay, until they have reached that point in which they know they can bomb the hell out of the United States. The United States will stay still. They will pander to him. They will do things like, "Oh, we want to negotiate tariffs. Okay, let's negotiate tariffs. Let's do it. Let's. Oh yes, we are very willing to look. But of course, I want to negotiate with you. Why wouldn't I? No, no. Oh, you need that. I'm sorry, I cannot do that. But let's try something else. Yes, people can hide their emotions. People can hide their intentions. But sooner or later, there will come a day when the answer will not even be a no. It will be a deafening silence. A fall of anything. It rarely comes with a big bang. It comes with a whimper, slowly, slowly. You know? When the last Roman Empire in the East, in the Western Empire, was deposed by the king of the Ostrogoths that decided he no longer needed him. The barbarian king did not even bother to kill him. He sent him to an estate to live out the rest of his days as a rich, pampered Roman nobleman, like many of the gods would also turning themselves into. And until that day, there were still people living in areas that were no longer Roman, Visigoths and the Suebi in the Iberian Peninsula, the Vandals in North Africa, the Franks in today France, that amalgamated through of Angles and Angles and Saxons and whatever in the UK, the British Isles. Okay, the locals in many areas also waking up and smelling the cookies. But there were still people there that proudly said, "We are Romans, and the empire is still here." And the empire, I think, the last big great emperor they had, pardon me, was probably Trajan. I don't know how you say it in English. We say Emperor Trajan. He came from here from the east. So you can call yourselves Americans. You can believe to be very important, but the world won't care. And I don't know if you can reverse this. Honestly, I can, because now he will have the psychological victory, which is very important, of being able to do this. He's going to cut the income tax on rich people. He's going to line his pockets, okay, or the pockets of his friends, however you want to call it, and you are going to suffer. And then you are going to become angry, and you're going to vote in angry people, and those angry people will do whatever they want, okay? And I look here, I look at the news channels, and I honestly want to laugh because this is so ironic. This is so ironic.
So yes, Trump.
Sorry, I was just watching a.
Do I need?
No, I won't. I won't. We won't watch this. No. Well, once again, sorry for my informal attire. It's hot. I will be ending this video now. I will wish you all in the United States good luck, because that is all I can wish you. And well, let's see what is going to happen. Live a day at a time, one day at a time. Okay. I will try to make another video soon, but with this heat, I frankly don't know. But I will.